I would like to introduce at this time Jolana Begay Kropa with the Phoenix Indian Center. She is here to offer a land acknowledgement, and we are so grateful for that. Let's give a round of applause for Jolana.
Yat et anolsko. Atahuis ado kwaanahano yanigi yat e nikidishni dole. She e trachini nishlin do tsanajini e dashje. Ashche dashche ado ye e den e trachini dashinale. Do e yesina shahado e tsahotso ete. So I greeted you in my beautiful Dene heritage language. I belong to the Red Running Into the Water People clan, and I am born for the Black Streak Wood people. I originally come from a community about 4.5 hours north of Phoenix, a beautiful area near Fort Defiance, which is an old military fort. I was born and raised there, but I maintain a living here in the urban space for over 20 years. I serve as the CEO for an amazing organization called the Phoenix Indian Center. I'm honored to be here today and to introduce myself in my native language. As an Indigenous woman, it is always an honor and a privilege to be able to share about who we are, where we come from, and also to ground each and every one of us. As a Dene woman, we use the phrase, "Tro e ina." Tro is water in Navajo. Tro, real easy, T-O. And ina is life. And so in many of our prayers, in many of our songs, in many of our stories, tro e ina is used. And as a young girl, I didn't really understand, but heard it over and over again. But as I grew older, I moved away from home. I recognized the many challenges that we face in our community as a whole. Tro e ina makes sense to me now. And so at this time, I would like to welcome you to these lands and invite you to share in our acknowledgement of the wisdom and existence of Indigenous peoples. At the Phoenix Indian Center, we acknowledge the ancestral, the traditional, and the contemporary homelands of the Akimel O'odham and the Pipash peoples. And we recognize them as the original inhabitants of these lands that we now call the Phoenix metropolitan area. It is through their generosity, through their ancestral caretaking of the land and their resilience, the impact that they had for all of the future communities as we continue to do so. We acknowledge their grit, integrity, strength, and their contributions to what we now know as science, economic development, work around water, which is why you're all here, health and wellness, community organizing, and education. We invite you to continue to work together, to share best practices, to find ways to partner, and to live and work in our world in a way that honors and respects and celebrates the many Indigenous lands that we all inhabit and the people that we impact. I also want to recognize and support sovereignty for Arizona's 22 tribes, including my own, but also the many tribes that have traveled through these lands over time. I'm humbled to be here today sharing in this moment where, as an Indigenous Dene woman who heard the phrase "Tro e ina, ishja tro e ina" growing up, that I could share this knowledge and share this storytelling so that it grounds each and every one of you in the work that you do. Just a little bit of background about my organization. We are the oldest American Indian Center in the country, established 78 years ago as part of federal Indian relocation. Our center continues to be a hub for the thousands of urban American Indians that live off of their ancestral homelands in major metropolitan cities like Phoenix. Our organization is really dedicated to supporting our urban relatives, but also giving back in ways that we help to share about who we are and our contributions to this world to our friends in the community. And so our center is a center I care deeply about. I'm honored and thankful for the invitation to greet you in my language, but also to share some positivity as you move forward in learning, in finding ways to, support the community, the sustainability in the long run. That is very important to us. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart on behalf of my community for allowing us to be here to introduce our ways, our storytelling around the caretaking of water. As stated earlier, there are many stories, including the canal systems that have always been here. And our people know about these ways, and we're trying very hard to continue to teach our young people. And even when, I'm teaching young children today, we don't play with water. So water fights we're not excited about that in cultural ways, and our boys try to understand having a swimming pool and the privileges around that in urban space, but also acknowledging our traditional ways. So I wanted to share that much. Welcome each and every one of you. I hope that helps with the mindset and all that you're going to do over the next coming days. Thank you very much.